The epiphany of, am I going to do this for the rest of my life happened pretty early in my golf career, because I'm standing in the hot sun for 8 hours a day. So I was like, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Am I going to do this for another 30, 40 years? And I didn't want that for myself.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast. Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you're from in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome.
All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. If you're new here, we document and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you're a returning listener, thanks for coming back. We're excited to bring you another story from someone right here. Scott, as long as I've known you, you've not pursued hot and spicy food, but you said that you used to enjoy chili.
Well, I used to be able to eat it. Let me ask you this. Do you think kimchi is hot?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, some people do.
Yes.
But I don't. But when I lived in Korea, I would love to eat a bowl of really spicy, called ukgaejang, the very spicy soup. And I could eat the whole bowl. I really enjoyed it. But you like spicy.
Well, at one point in my life, I would consider myself a chili head, like pursuing hotter and hotter things, always needing some sort of hot condiment with my meal, and it had to hurt a little bit. And then, strangely enough, that all ended with the spicy ramen challenge.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So at that time, I was, able to eat habanero fresh. It would hurt, but I would enjoy it. I like the flavor of habanero. It's a little on the hotter end. Nothing too crazy, right? And ghost pepper, I don't seek out because it's just too spicy. And I've tried Carolina Reaper, just a tip on my tongue from a toothpick. Very painful. But in Little Tokyo, on the second floor, I think it's called Oro-chan, they have a special number 2 challenge. And if you finish their bowl of ramen within 30 minutes, you get a Polaroid picture right on the wall. So as I'm doing, eating spicy, and I'm like, I can, I like spicy, I go there. So they have 10 levels of spice, and then they have special number 1, and then they have special number 2. So the first time I went there, I had level 10. And I was like, it's not spicy at all, right? Then I went back, and I had special number 1, and it was not spicy at all. And I said, what's the difference between number 1 and number 2? And they said, we just add fresh jalapeno. And I was like, that's it? So I was like, okay, I'm coming back to do it. They didn't tell me that it was also the volume of the bowl was a lot more, right? And the challenge was actually not the spice, it was eating it all or drinking the broth. I was unaffected by the spice, but finishing that whole broth, that was a mistake. It was so painful. I won't describe the aftermath, but strangely enough, after that, my stomach could not handle Tabasco. And I couldn't understand it. But after that event, I couldn't take spice anymore.
It just destroyed your stomach.
Something, yeah.
And how long ago was that?
I was in 2014.
Okay.
And then since then, I've sort of been starting again, not anywhere near where I was before, but it would be intermittent now. Sometimes I can handle mild spice. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I can handle pretty spicy stuff, and then sometimes I can't.
How about Sichuan restaurants? How do you handle those?
I think I've only had it once with Angel at Bistro Na. They had a mala chicken or something, and I think I was okay. It's a different kind of spice though.
Yeah, it is a different type, but I would like you to try Sichuan huoguo.
What's that?
That's a hot pot.
Okay.
Sichuan hot pot. And when I had that when I lived in China, I got physically sick for a week.
Well, you're wishing this on me?
Well, you can take it. You can take it. I couldn't take it.
This sickness for a week like I did.
Make sure we don't have any podcasts scheduled.
Well, we're talking about a lot of different foods and spices. And if you want to check out places to eat and to get spicy stuff in the San Gabriel Valley, don't forget to check out San Gabriel Valley Now. your source for city news, announcements, events, special savings, and everything SGV. Check them out on Instagram, sgv.now, and read their magazine on their website, sgvnow.com. Well, if our audience hasn't figured out what the tie-in to our guest today is, it has to do with chili and spice, and we'll get into that with our guest. His name is Andrew Lee. He is the founder of Zindrew Chili Oil. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Sorry, that went off in a whole tangent, right? Like of pain and spice and stuff. Yeah. But
no, that's the story we like to hear.
So, are you a chili head yourself? Do you pursue hotter and hotter stuff?
I after I met my wife, yes. The spiciest stuff that I ate was probably using sriracha sauce on my food. I'll crave spicy in my meals, but I don't necessarily need it. However, my wife, Zin, she's her family's from Burma, Myanmar, and they love spicy food. So every single meal there has to be some sort of spice. So I kind of built up my tolerance a little bit, and but I still can't match what she can eat. So yeah.
Does she laugh at your sriracha? Like some people refer to it like almost like ketchup, right? It's not even that spicy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like we used to call it Chinese ketchup, right? Like that's what we use instead of ketchup at a lot of the restaurants. But I remember when I was younger, I tried to build up my tolerance through eating pho, and to see how much sriracha I can put in my soup. But I had plenty of painful experiences, but I kind of know my limit nowadays.
Yeah, my wife would often like shake her head, because sometimes I would be in pain and sometimes I wouldn't, and I would still risk it, to have more chili. But so, Andrew, the show is called the My SGV podcast. What's your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
So I was born and raised here in SGV. My parents moved from Taiwan long time ago, before I was born. So they had me here. Went to Brightwood, and then high school went to Mark Keppel. So I was born and raised here. Just love it. Yeah.
And Brightwood is in Monterey Park for people who don't know. And then you went to Mark Keppel High School.
That's right.
Which I went to Mark Keppel High School.
Nice. Yeah.
But I think it was a different time then, though.
I think you did tell me. I think we were 10 years apart, right? I think.
When did you graduate?
04.
Geez, when did I graduate? 96.
Oh, okay. Never mind. So that's 8 years.
8 years. Yeah. Not too far off. But was it still a lot of gangs then at that time?
Yeah, there was. And I feel like our year 04 was probably the last year where we were influenced by a lot of the gang life that happened at school. I know the kids afterwards, like my sister, she graduated 07, and a lot of her friends or a lot of kids that graduated after that just didn't really experience that much in high school. So maybe our year was probably the last year where people were wore baggy pants, white t-shirt, hair slicked back.
Did you have that look?
I did for a little bit. Yeah.
Nice. You have to send us a picture.
The gangs were both Latino and
Asian.
Yeah.
And so you would have multiple gangs in each group. Yeah,
I mean, the way I remembered Mark Keppel was kind of broken into two main ethnicities. You have the Asians, and then you have the Hispanics. I remember my year, we had one Caucasian guy, which hung out with all the Asians, so we kind of brought him in as.
Oh, you had one Caucasian in the whole school?
For our grade, for our year.
Oh, really?
And it had to be like maybe 2 or 3 Caucasians at most at our school. And then we had 1 or 2 African American as well. So it was just mainly Asians and Mexicans.
And then were there multiple Asian gangs, or was there one gang?
No, there was multiple.
And they would fight each other?
Yeah.
And would they mess with the Latinos, or like you keep within your own ethnicity?
Yeah, I don't remember having too many, Asians versus other. It's usually Asians versus Asians.
We thought you were the Asian gang expert, dude.
No, this is just going off of memory.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking with you.
Yeah, I shouldn't be grilling you on that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a different time. It was a different time, and I have a story of why the fence went around Marquette. It actually happened between my junior and senior year, and I'll try to make this as brief as possible. So before, you couldn't go out to lunch unless you were a senior. So you're waiting, and then I'm a junior, and then I'm like, okay, senior year, I'm going to go out for lunch. And something happens my junior year, and they erect this fence, and nobody can go out to lunch anymore. What I heard, that there was a shooting at Wendy's on Valley, right, like just over the bridge, right? Come to find out, just a few weeks ago, I had lunch with my friend who was in a gang, and he was part of that fight that happened there. I won't mention the gangs and whatever. Yeah. There wasn't a shooting, but there were two major gangs that fought there. And but that's why they erected the fence. I was like, oh man.
When I went to high school, a lot of our friends went to other high schools, and they were able to have open lunches. So they were able to go out off campus and go to restaurants to eat. And we always thought, how come we can't do that, right? But yeah, I heard something about a shooting. Actually, the story I heard was there was a shooting while people were eating on the front lawn, and that's why everybody had to stay inside.
So I don't think that happened, but I did. Probably. I was like, kids embellish and whatever, but
right.
There I was hearing it from the source.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's an interesting story about Marquette. But so I didn't know about you until recently, because you didn't share this with me when we first spoke, that you're also a professional golfer.
Yeah. So I've played golf for over 30 years now. Yeah, my dad started off playing golf himself recreationally, and I just tagged along when I was about 6 years old. I remember my first ball that I hit was actually at the Monterey Park golf range. At that time, they had grass, so you were able to hit off the grass. And I think how my career started as a golfer was, people were just watching me hit balls as a 6-year-old, and they're like, hey, this kid might have some sort of talent going on. And my dad kind of pursued it, and I got golf lessons, and then eventually he signed me up for junior golf. So played tons of tournaments, traveled all around the world playing golf, and yeah, it kind of took off from there.
So you played as a pro? Yes.
So after college, I played in the Southern California PGA. I was part of the SoCal PGA program. So they train basically how to run a golf course, and also on how to teach golf as well. And during that time, there was a lot of pro tournaments, so I decided to join and started playing. However, the whole time I was playing pro, I was also working at a golf course and teaching at the same time.
What course?
I worked at Alhambra Golf Course, which is right by Monterey Park. So during that time, I was working in the shop, and then on my off hours, I was teaching golf on the side.
So could you qualify for the tour?
So I never actually tried to qualify for the tour, only because during that time I was already working. And in order to play on tour, you have to go through the Q school, which is more of a qualifying circuit, which is, number one, very expensive. Number two, you have to dedicate 100% of your time practicing, playing, traveling. So there was a decision to be made. I would have and could have if I had like a monetary sponsor to back me up, or I work for my work and make money and try to build a career which is a little bit more stable. So I chose to stay back, work at the shop, pursue a golf career, and then make money through teaching golf. But like I said, I was playing on the smaller tours, making minimal money playing golf, but making more money teaching golf. So I I played tournaments until I actually hurt my wrist getting ready for a big tournament. And that's when I decided to retire from professional golf and then basically teach golf from then on. Yeah. To answer your question, playing on the PGA, it's not very easy because you need a lot of money and a lot of time, which is essentially at that point in my life, it was like gambling. You know, am I gonna not make money and try to gamble, or have a steadier income, staying back and teaching golf? And that's what I chose to do.
Yeah. Well, are you an athlete? Do you play other sports, or was golf your big sport?
I played other sports all my life. You know, basketball, football, just for fun. But I really wanted to play football at Mark Eppel just because all my other friends were playing football. However, my golf coach did not let me and convinced my dad not to let me either.
Oh, no.
It was crazy because, you know, 8th grade, like I said, I was playing a lot of tournaments as a junior golfer. And I think Mark Eppel's coach at that time was Anthony Samita. And he had his eyes on me and looking forward for me to go as a freshman to play on the team. So I was actually team captain as a freshman.
Wow. So you were obviously a good player from the time you were a youngster.
Yeah. I would say my prime playing golf was actually when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Really?
You know, playing off the blue tees at that time, it was crazy. I was shooting, you know, 3 under par average.
Really? How about today? If you went out and
today,
shot, what would you shoot?
So, well, just to give you an example, I still play tournaments here and there, and I do have a tournament every year at Pebble Beach. So last year at Pebble Beach, I shot 68.
Wow. Boy.
But that's, you know, it's with the whole chili business growing, I don't have time to play or practice. So when the tournament comes up, I take about 2 weeks or so to start practicing, and then I'll get my touch back. I'll get my swing back a little bit. So if I were to play now, I wouldn't do too well. So I do need some time to kind of
that's
polish
impressive,
up my game.
Yeah. Who knew we'd be talking mostly about golf? Do you know Raymond Chen?
Raymond Chen.
He teaches, I think he teaches at at Twin Palms. No,
I don't.
Kevin Chen?
No. I know Sean Lin. I don't know if he teaches at Rolling Heights Golf Range.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the one I'm very familiar with. But no, I don't know Raymond Chen.
I don't know how close the golf community is around here.
Oh, there's tons of instructors out there. Yeah.
Well, so do you regret the path that you chose?
No, I don't. Golf has always been my career, right? I played golf, and I went to the San Diego Golf Academy. So there I learned also how to teach golf. So I taught golf total for about 14 years, I would say. And I got pretty good at teaching golf. You know, a few of my students started with me as a junior golfer and got scholarships, full rides to colleges to play golf. So I'm pretty proud of that. No, I don't regret playing golf or teaching golf at all. That's always been my bread and butter. However, after working at the golf course, after teaching golf, I realized that my income would always be capped because I'm the one teaching golf, right? I can only stand there for 8 hours a day. And even if I raise my tuition prices, or, you know, it's always going to be capped at some sort. So I never really liked my income capped, or having the thought of having my income capped. So even working at the golf course, I started many small businesses during that time. So for example, I started, the first business I started was actually called Calamari. We got together with a couple friends. We had this idea of starting a food booth at the 626 night market. And we're like, okay, what's there that they don't have yet? So we thought about fried calamari. So we called ourselves Cali Calamari. And it was great. We had long lines. I would say it was a successful business. However, everyone had full-time jobs. Preparing the calamari, preparing the squid, preparing the sauces, it was just way too much work. And then if you can imagine, like, we're at the night market and we have to hand batter every batch of calamari that's coming out. It was too much work. So we unless we thought of a easier way or a streamlined way to prepare the food, we couldn't continue. So I stopped doing that after the first year. And then I created square donut ice cream sandwiches.
Wow.
So I had a booth at the night market as well doing that.
Were you preparing the calamari from fresh squid?
Yeah.
Holy, wow.
Yeah. So we had to.
That's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. We had to clean the squid. We had to cut the squid to the size that we liked.
Where were you doing this?
That was so we rented a commercial kitchen.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking, like,
Yeah.
where was placed like that? That's a lot of smell too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no way we would have done it anywhere else. We actually made the sauces. So we offered, I remember it was like garlic aioli. I forgot, it was a while ago. We had like 3 or 4 different sauces and we made that in-house. So I was digging mayonnaise bottle.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was, I'm actually kind of scared of mayonnaise after
Oh, no.
after that season. It was just way too much.
How many times did you guys show up at the night market?
For that season, I think it was 3 or 4 events. That time they didn't offer as many days as now, but yeah, we were there, I think 3 or 4 weekends, and that was enough to kind of scare us off and not continue.
So
business.
it sounds like even though it may have been profitable, that you guys, just the work involved was too much.
It was too much. I think if we had more of a commercialized technique, it would have been better. Or maybe ordered squid that was already cut and provided to us. That would have made it much better. Oh, by the way, we didn't have money to buy fryers.
Oh, no.
So we actually bought big old woks, poured oil in there, heated up the oil, and fried it that way. But because of doing that, there was no way of circulating and filtering the oil. So we had to dump out the oil after, I would say, every hour, because the oil would get so dark and burnt, and it wouldn't make the food taste good anymore. So we dump out the oil.
Wow.
And then we had to but that time oil was pretty cheap. Now we can't imagine
Wow.
using that much oil.
How easy or difficult was it to get in there? Like, because you guys didn't have an established business. You're just like, let me bring this idea to the market. Like, do you just present it to someone that we're going to sell this? And how does that work?
I think that's how it went. We signed up through their online portal, and then we just got an email back saying, hey, congratulations. We would love to have you guys participate.
Really? That's it, huh? Okay.
And after we got that email, we had to get on it, right? We had to go buy our restaurant equipment, all the equipment, all the utensils.
Wow.
Figure out where we're going to get the squid.
So did you guys already know the process of the cooking and your sauces? You guys already had that down?
No, everything was trial and error.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to test out oil temperatures. What's the best temperature? What's the best batter to use? So there was a lot of trials, and then we eventually, most of my friends are pretty, including me. We're all pretty much foodies, right? So we know what we like, what tastes good, and then we kind of just through trials and base it on our taste buds. So okay, this is good enough. Let's run with it. And that's how I started the chili business as well.
Wow.
So it's just flavors that we like, and then luckily many people agreed with our taste buds, and like I said, with the calamari business, we had a lot of customers. I would say it was a success, but like you said, it's we had to basically cut it off because it was just too much work.
And then your next business was the ice cream sandwich?
Yeah, it was called Square Donut Ice Cream Sandwiches. Our donuts were in a square shape, which is kind of unique because most donuts are round. And then we would cut the donut in half.
Was it a raised donut or a cake donut?
It was a glazed donut, yeah.
No, I'm sorry, like a yeast donut or a cake one?
Cake.
A cake donut, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. East.
East. So it was like light and fluffy.
Light and fluffy, kind of like texture was kind of like Krispy Kreme.
Okay.
But we put ice cream in there and put toppings on top. So my family's from Taiwan, like I mentioned before. In Taiwan, dessert is so good there. Fruits are so good. So I kind of had the inspiration from visiting Taiwan. So our ice cream sandwich donuts, we had fresh mangoes on top with some condensed milk, or fresh strawberries, condensed milk with strawberry ice cream, or it was really good. It was high in calories, but at a night market atmosphere, who cares, right?
Oh, you went back to the night market with this new concept.
Yeah, exactly. So I always, like I said, I always wanted to start my own business. I tried a lot of different businesses. That was one of them. This time around, I'm like, how do I make it a little bit easier on myself?
Hey, how did the ice cream business go?
It went well.
That seems like it would be more challenging logistic than the squid.
With any new business, there was new challenges for sure. We traveled. We had events in San Diego. We had events in Northern California, and going places to places, we had to figure out how do we keep our ice cream frozen. So we bought a lot of dry ice to keep it cool, and there's a lot of logistics behind that. But we made it work. I think the way I was thinking was dessert's not my forte. Even though we had a good idea, we had a good product, but how do we expand on this idea, right? Do we open up ice cream shops or donut shops? That I didn't really see myself doing that. So after, I think, a year and a half of pursuing and promoting Square, we stopped it. Yeah. And went back to teaching golf. But keep in mind, throughout this whole time I was starting different businesses, I was working full time at the golf shop too, at the golf course. So my boss at that time wasn't really too happy because all the night markets were on weekends. I saved up all my vacation days and I applied for my vacation days to attend the night markets. And I think one of the reasons why I stopped Square was one year I applied before the summertime, all my vacations, and he denied all of them.
Oh.
And I was kind of heartbroken. I was like, hey, how am I going to continue with this business if I can't get days off? So I decided to stop the ice cream business and basically worked at the course full-time, taught golf full-time. It was insane because at the time, teaching golf was on my off hours from the shop. So I was working 32 hours in the shop, and then I was working another 40 hours teaching golf. And so that took up pretty much 7 days a week full-time. And yeah, and then the next thing I got into was a photo booth business. So my friend and I, we started a photo booth and we just did weddings. And that was a little bit more manageable because most weddings, we had to go set up at around 6 p.m. or 5 p.m., which was on my days off. I would schedule my golf lessons in the morning. I would be off 3 o'clock, and then we would get ready to set up for the events that we had planned.
So you just had one business after another.
Yeah.
But golf, did you go into that right after high school?
Yeah, I mean, so right after high school, I went to the Golf Academy of America.
Was that like for a year?
That was a 2-year program.
2-year program.
And then after that, I actually went to college in Maryland. Went there. I was in Maryland for 4 years, and after that, I came back and I went straight into the golf business. Yeah. But ever since I got into the golf business, I was just hustling full time. The epiphany of, am I going to do this for the rest of my life happened pretty early in my golf career, because I'm standing in the hot sun for 8 hours a day. You wouldn't even recognize me in the summertime because I would be so dark. So I was like, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Am I going to do this for another 30, 40 years? And I didn't want that for myself.
But you did it for 14 years, right?
I did, yeah. I did. Yeah. So I had a lot of experience at that point. And, golf is great, but nowadays, the way I think golf for me is I want to just play for fun. I want to relax on a golf course. I want to, have fun with friends, go on golf trips. Yeah, I don't really want to teach golf. The reward was awesome too. Like I said, I've taught a lot of good golfers, and watching new golfers pick up the sport and going through the lessons and improving and actually playing on the course on their own was just super rewarding. But don't get me wrong, I love the whole golf. I respect all the golf instructors out there working hard, but I just didn't see myself doing that for
as
a
you
long
said,
time.
there's a limit to your income.
Right.
How did you get into the chili oil?
Yeah, so the chili oil business happened all by accident, right? So this is the story of how we started the chili business. Just one day at home, my wife was kind of complaining to me I can't find any good chili oils out there, because she, like I said, she uses chili oil on every meal that she eats, right? So we would use supermarket chili oils that we can find at the market at the time. There wasn't that many small batch chili oils at the time, so all the chili oils that you can find was basically at the Chinese markets. There's a lot of mala flavor, like you mentioned. There's a lot of traditional flavor chili oils that was available, but she just didn't really enjoy it as much. So mostly she used it for just to get that spice out of the chili oil. So one day I'm like, okay, let me go to the market. I'll buy some ingredients, garlic, chili flakes, the oil. And then I just started playing around with my own recipes, just putting stuff together. And then finally came up with the recipe that we stuck now with, the OG batch, which is the original one that I made. And she loved it. She was like, "What? I've never had this kind of flavor before." Like,
how she didn't even help you make it?
No, I think
it was all your own idea.
Yeah, I think she was at work actually when I
Really?
made it, and I kind of surprised her with this chili oil that I made, and then she ate it when she got home. She's like, "Wow, this is so good." So next thing you know, we had little sauce, like reused sauce packets that we the sauce cups that we kept, and then we put the chili oil in, gave it to some friends and my cousins, family. And then the next thing you know, like 2 weeks later, on our personal Instagram page, people were just messaging us like, "Hey, can we get some of that chili oil?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I actually went on Amazon, bought little jars, jarred it up, gave it to our friends that were asking. And then we just kept getting more orders in. And I was like, okay, something's happening now. We can't keep making these chili oils and giving it out for free. So that's when I decided to actually start the business. I don't have a sample of our old logo, but it was a pretty generic logo that I just made online. And we were making batches of chili oil at home in our kitchen. And then we were taking pre-orders on Instagram. And then COVID hit. So COVID, everybody was at home. And that's actually when our business started to grow. People at home couldn't go out to the market, so they were ordering chili oil from me. And at that time, I was delivering it house to house. That was insane. So we had like 40 orders every batch or 60 orders every batch, and it would take about 9 hours to make the chili oil at home. We had to jar it up, package it, and then it would take me another 4 to 5 hours to deliver go through the routes and just deliver it house to house.
You would do it yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the one good thing during COVID was there was no traffic. So I delivered all the way to Huntington Beach. I got there in like 20 minutes, which is great. Yeah. I had to deliver all the way up to like near the Getty Center in West LA. And so I was just delivering all over the place. And then finally I'm like, okay, we had to upgrade and have a bigger setup. So I went to my parents' house and then I bought bigger woks. And then at that time, well, in the beginning, I had the IKEA woks that I started off with. And I still have those at home just to keep as memory. But we at the time we were able to make 8 jars per batch, and we had like 40 orders every time. So I was like working my butt off in the kitchen as my wife was like, jarring everything up. And then at my parents' house, we had bigger woks. So we were able to scale it to about 40 jars per batch. And also at that time, just more and more people ordered our chili oil.
So would you create batches every day, or how did that work?
It was, I think we were cooking batches 3 times a week. And then, and by then my parents were involved too. They were just helping me with everything.
And you would, canning is not, you would put it in the jars.
Yeah.
And seal it. And so
label it
all out of home.
Yeah.
And then deliver it.
And I would deliver it. It got to the point where I just couldn't deliver house to house anymore because there was just too many orders. So what I did was I was like, there's people selling fruits on the side of the street. I see food trucks all the time parked on the side of the street. So why not sell chili oil on the side of the street? So so on Instagram I just posted, hey guys, I'm not taking orders anymore. I'm going to be at this location at this time. So just come and find me and I'll sell you chili oil. So the first location I actually parked at was out by the O'Reilly's on Las Tunas and San Gabriel.
Okay,
right there.
By the Samu.
Yeah, and near that, right outside of that plaza. So I was parked on the side of the street, had my trunk open, and people were just lining up to buy chili oil from me.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
That was the kind of the start of it. And actually, San Gabriel PD pulled up on me right behind me with lights and sirens. And I was like, what's going on? And they walked up to my car. I was like, what are you selling out of your car? I was like, oh, I showed him just chili oil. And he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But, you can't do this. You actually probably need to get a license or some sort of approval from the city. So I was like, okay, you're right. I want to do this the right way. So I called the city the next day and I said, hey, how do I get a permit to sell chili oil on the streets? And she was like, she put me on hold for a while. She was like, let me find out for you. And she came back and said, sorry, we don't have any type of permits like that to allow you to sell on the street. And I was like, okay, I can't be doing this anymore. And it was kind of dangerous too, right? Like parking on the sidewalk. So my cousin, which he owns Tire Central in San Gabriel, he has a pretty nice parking lot and it's gated. So he's like, why don't you just come to Tire Central and sell your chili oil there? I was like, okay, that's a great idea. So that's what I did next was sell chili oil out of Tire Central. And then I had orders coming in from Orange County. So I was like, okay, that's pretty far from here. So again, I posted on my Instagram, hey, I'll be here at this time. So I actually went to Irvine. I think there's an H Mart right there in the Diamond Plaza. So I parked in the parking lot there. And then people had to come find my car, and then I would just pop the trunk open and just sell chili oil. That's how Zindrew started in the very beginning.
Wow, that's an awesome story. Yeah,
it's pretty cool to have customers bring that up when they meet me. It's like, oh, the first time I bought from you was out of your trunk in San Gabriel. I was like, oh, that's pretty.
Well, how do you sell now? What's your marketing?
So now we've come a long ways. We sell out of our own website, so people can order from our website. We're also on Amazon, so anybody in the U.S. can buy from Amazon as well. And then we have about 50 retail stores that carry our products now. So that's, my thing was always to make it more available and convenient for our customers to pick up our products. So that's why in the very beginning I was like, hey, I'll come to you.
Well, how difficult is it to get a distribution contract with like retail stores like that?
So where we started was more mom and pop shops. So I would just go in there with a sample of our product and asked if they were interested in selling our product for us, and I would just sell it to them wholesale, and they would just reorder.
That would be local here in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah.
You would like what kind of stores would those be?
I think one of our first retailers was Bami Maito, which was the first location was in Alhambra on Valley and
Near Fremont.
You know where Garden Cafe is? Or Bacali's?
Yes.
Across the street from Bacali's.
Oh, okay.
A little tiny bummy shop. Then the owner's son actually opened one in Rosemead. So we have our products there too. So that was one of our first 2 locations. And
Also, you're very local. Like you're here in the. I mean, also you're on Amazon too, but
yeah,
your like grassroots campaign to get it out there is
right here.
Where do you manufacture?
So our factory is actually in El Monte.
Okay.
And then my warehouse is also in El Monte. And yeah, we have retailers all around the U.S. Like the craziest one was the online store hit me up from Nashville, Tennessee, and they said, we want your chili oil in our store. I was like, wait, you're in Nashville, Tennessee? That's crazy, right? Like, I'm sure there's not much Asian influence in Nashville. So I was pretty happy. Like, okay, we sent a pallet to them, and then it sold out really quick, and they ordered a second pallet, and ever since then. So our stuff is in Nashville, Chicago. We haven't quite gone to the East Coast yet, but hopefully we will soon. But we are still very, like you said, our grassroots is right here in the SGV.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Andrew, we ask each guest to bring an item of significance with them. What did you bring with you today?
Yeah, so of course I had to bring our own Zindrew chili.
Yeah, and I see it's actually called OG Batch.
This one's called the OG Batch, right? So the story behind this is the very first one I made for Zin, and she loves spicy food, and this was not spicy enough for her. So it wasn't good enough for her. So I had to make the X Batch, which is the extra spicy. This one's made with Thai chili, and then this one's made with Tianjin Chinese chili. Yeah.
At first, I was like, "Oh no, did you use the X pepper?" But it's not. Have you heard of the X pepper?
I haven't.
So X pepper just was awarded from Guinness World Records as the hottest pepper on earth.
So
hotter than the Carolina Reaper. Same guy who developed it.
Okay, yep.
But they called it X pepper.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did see a picture of it. It looks like the Carolina Reaper pepper, but it has a little orange.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 2.16 million Scoville units, like consistent average.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No,
that's
thank
crazy.
you.
Wow.
No.
So so that one actually Zin to this day only uses the X batch, and then I use the OG batch.
And it's got their little story on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I always tell our customers and our followers, this chili oil was made with love, because it was actually made for her. Like I said, it wasn't meant to be a business at first. It accidentally became a business. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that in.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
Andrew, I want to get more into what you have in store for your company and the chili, but let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
At Warmouth Law, they believe that just because you speak a foreign language, come from a different culture, or simply don't know how to navigate the legal system, that should not prevent you from compensation from injury or receiving benefits. Their multicultural staff have been helping SGVers like you for over 38 years. Visit law888.com or call them at 626-784-7017 and tell them you heard about them on this podcast.
All right, we're back with Andrew. Andrew, before the break, you were sharing about the chili oil made with love, and that's a pretty awesome story. And I know the name, if you can share briefly the name.
Yeah, so Zin is my wife, and I'm Andrew. So all of our friends, even before we started this business, would call us Zindrew as a couple's name. Since this was made for her and made by me, so I just called it Zindrew chili.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that you have the picture and story behind it on there.
Yeah, this, it's pretty interesting start of the business, and everyone can kind of learn about it.
Yeah.
On the jar.
Well, Andrew, when we come back from break, we like to ask a question from these cards. It's the icebreaker pack, and they're just fun engagement. You can choose to answer it or not. So
sure.
Here we go. What was your first car?
Yeah, my first car was a Lexus LS 400.
Wow. You start at the top.
Wow, okay.
It was during high school.
What was your second car?
So I can answer that after, but that was my mom's car. It was an older car. She wanted a bigger, like a SUV. So in high school, she gave that car to me. And of course, growing up here in that era, it was like the Fast and Furious era, right? So of course I had to put lights inside the interior, had to put a sub in the back. It was pretty fun.
Awesome. Okay, Scott, what was your first car?
I thought we had this question before, because I seem to think I remember mentioning my car before. It was a Datsun B210. It was like a small, ugly Datsun.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember talking about it once before, but
Cool.
yeah. Well, it was either, you know what? I think my first car was a Volkswagen Bug, actually.
Really?
Even cooler.
Yeah.
What year?
It was a 73.
Okay.
73, yeah. Probably one of the last years they made those original Bug models, because they restarted them, after a later period of time. But yeah, it was one of the original love Bugs.
Well, I owned a 1967 Volkswagen Beetle in Germany.
Oh, you did?
It was my second car, though. I paid $250 for that car.
Wow.
From a soldier who was leaving, and I sold it for $250 before I left, which I wish I didn't do, because it's obviously a classic. But my first car was a 1985 Toyota Corolla GTS hatchback.
Wow.
So he knows, right? And you're like, oh, what? A Corolla. But yeah, that was my first car. It had TRD headers, 2.5-inch like straight flow piping. You could hear it going down the street.
Dang.
I mean, all my friends at Marqueppel, there were like 6 of us who had them, and so if we were all driving at once, it was a really cool sight.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see all these the same Corollas just going, and yeah. So that was my first car.
That's awesome. That's a really cool first car.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So a lot of cool memories with that. To the listening audience on the podcast, or if you're watching this on YouTube, what was your first car? Please drop us a comment, let us know, and we'll share that in our future episode. So, Andrew, I almost called you Zindrew. Andrew, so you're all in on the chili now. The golf is now just with your buddies. And what's in store for the future with your chili company?
So we want to focus more on wholesaling our chili oil. So we're working with a distributor right now. Hopefully we'll be in some of the bigger markets soon. We're going to continue selling on Amazon and all the outlets. We're actually, like I mentioned, we did a lot of night markets. We're actually doing a lot of night markets for the chili oil business as well.
But you don't do it yourself, do you? I mean, go display.
I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I still do. I love meeting our customers face to face and getting to talk to them. But, the reason why I'm there also is to spread the word on what chili oil is, or chili crisp is another word for this. A lot of people still come up to us and ask, what is this? I say, it's an Asian style hot sauce that you can put on anything, because our flavor profile is mainly, it's heavy on garlic, and garlic goes well with pretty much anything. And it's not too much of that traditional Chinese flavor. So when I say you can put it on anything, that it literally means you can put it on pizza, you can eat it with your burgers. We make pasta sauce with this all the time. People even put this on ice cream.
Really? Yeah.
But as an Asian American that grew up here, I still haven't gotten into like the mala flavor, like the Szechuan flavor. I just don't like the sensation that that it leaves on my in my mouth. So
that tingling.
yeah, so we leave that out of our product, but the flavor, and a lot of people ask, hey, where is this? Is this from China or is this from Taiwan or Korea? I was like, well, no, it's made here in LA. So it is Asian inspired, but this sauce was made here. So we want to kind of spread the word to all ethnicities what chili oil is, and hopefully they can start using it in their daily life or cuisines. We have a lot of Japanese restaurants that actually use our chili oil to top their sushi. So it's very universal, very versatile.
Yeah. So Andrew, it's why don't you say it's from the SGV? That would be so cool. Like not LA, but this is this is from the SGV.
Yeah, that's
we'll license my SGV to you, and you.
That might work. No, it's since this is we want to spread this nationwide. It's easier for people to just recognize, okay, it's made in Los Angeles or made in California. But anybody that talks to me, I'm proud to say it's from the SGV, for sure.
Well, Andrew, we're going to move on to the final segment of the show where we get to learn more about you and the things you like in the San Gabriel Valley.
Sure.
Andrew, let's talk about your SGV3.
Okay.
Your favorite places, memories. What is number one for you?
Number one, non-food related would be probably Tire Central.
Where you started your business.
Where I started the business, but even before that, it's a great place to get your tires. The prices are always good. Service is impeccable.
Where is it located?
It's on Broadway and San Gabriel Boulevard. So
so it's right in the city of San Gabriel.
Yep.
Yeah. Not far from here, right?
Yeah. Great team that works there. That's like I said, that's where I started.
That's where the 7-Eleven is, right?
Oh, across the street from that 7-Eleven. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're going down San Gabriel, make a right on Broadway. It's like maybe the second building.
Oh, okay.
Or the third building on the right. Yeah.
And that's you had a family member, your brother or brother-in-law?
My cousin.
Cousin?
Yeah. Cousin. Okay. I think he would be a great candidate for your show too, as well, because he has a pretty crazy story, the way he started that tire business. That's the one place.
Was it out the back of his truck?
I think I think he started in his garage with one set of tires.
Oh,
yeah. It's the same set. He just kept reselling.
I don't know, but yeah. I think it's pretty cool.
So how long has he run that business?
Oh, years. I think I'm not exactly sure, but it's got to be 15, 20 years now. Yeah.
Tire Central.
Yep.
All right. How about a second?
Second will have to be a place called Mien Tay, Mien and then Tay. It's a pho shop in Almani. So my friend took me there many years ago, and it was still the old owner that owned the shop. It was crazy because my very first time, I walked into the restaurant, sat down, said, sit anywhere. So I sat down. 30 seconds later, the food's coming out. And I was like, wait, I haven't even looked at the menu. How do you know what I wanted to order? But no, the shop owner was like, oh, this is what you're getting. But believe it or not, it's I think it's one of the best pho places in the area.
Wait. He's like, this is what I know you're going to order? Or he's like, this is what I'm just going to give you?
I think this is what I'm going to give you to eat.
And what did he give you?
It was an old lady, actually. It's the number one, like the what do you call it? The pho d'Afrique, right?
Oh, okay.
That comes with a little bit of everything. Which is actually what I normally order when I go to a pho shop anyway. So that it worked out for me. But yeah, it was just a crazy first experience because you sit down and the food comes out so quick and you're like confused because you haven't ordered anything yet.
So do you order now, or when you go in, they bring you what they want.
So the old lady that used to own that shop sold it, and now it's remodeled, revamped. There's actually a menu that you can order from, but the food is as good as before. It's pretty delicious, and yeah, I go there at least once a week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and if I'm traveling, I would crave them. I would have to get it as soon as I get back home.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so that's my number 2.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I think I had a memory of when I was in high school going to a fuzz shop and the owner standing over us annoyed. And she's like, "You're going to order the pho anyway." Something like that. And it was true. We all ordered the pho. And, I think she was joking with us, but that brought back that memory.
And that's what I love about SGV, right? Because you have so many restaurants that are owned by mom and pops like that. And if it's old school enough like that, it doesn't bother me, right? I think it's kind of funny, and I see it as a good experience, right? But if you're coming in from West LA or other states, you might kind of get weirded out by that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how you know that the food's good too. Yeah.
yeah, cool. How about a third place?
The third, I would have to say, probably Yama Seafood. If you guys been there,
I've heard. Where is that?
it's
I've heard
on
of it.
Las Tunas and Mission,
Okay,
right by the Jack in the Box, and I think there's a Thai restaurant.
Somebody has mentioned it before.
Yeah. Purple tie, and there's a Jack in the Box.
Purple
yeah.
Thai.
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah.
yeah.
I've been going to that place ever since I was a kid. And I remember there's only one sushi chef that worked behind the counter, and it was an old gentleman, and he would take his time. But he would take his time, cut perfect slices of sashimi, and he'll always kind of give you something extra. Like if you order a plate of salmon sashimi, he'll give you a few slices of yellowtail, and I think that's awesome. But not only the quality is good, but the price is very reasonable. So we started going there a long time ago, and I think he recently retired and sold the business to,
Like a young couple.
I think so, yeah, younger couple. Yeah. But after that, they kind of revamped the place, kept the quality, kept the prices very reasonable, and they just brought it to the next level, I think. So they made the business better. Because, a lot of businesses get sold, and the next thing you know, it's not that good anymore. But they did the opposite. I think it's even better. They actually expanded another Yama over on the west side now. So they have 2 shops.
Wow.
And they both carry Zindrew chili now.
Yeah, I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
So you can get Zindrew chili there.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're a great
So
support.
is it on the table in one of your jars or?
So actually, Yama, it's like a seafood market.
Supermarket.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they have like a section for
Dry goods and
dry
stuff.
goods,
Yeah.
snacks.
I see.
But yeah, our chili oil is on their shelves. So you can get it here in Alhambra as well as on the west side. Yeah.
I was going to Yama for many years. Yama-san belongs to the same pedigree of chefs that would go to the LA cold storage in the morning. And he would go with Nozawa and with Kyoto and all those guys, right? And so they would meet up in the morning. And he told me that he didn't want to own a restaurant because he didn't want to deal with customers. And he's of that old school, like, don't be on the phone, don't talk loud in my store. Like, I'm not going to serve you, get out kind of guy. That was him. I like that.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I went there, and it was right before I got hired at Tokyo Marine. And Tokyo Marine's a large Japanese company. And I said, hey, I got, went for an interview at Tokyo Marine. And, there was this large mirror that he had inside. And I said, oh, can I buy that from you? He's like, no. And I told him I went to go interview at Tokyo Marine, which I knew he would know. It's the oldest Japanese insurance company. And then he said, oh, if you get the job, I'll give you the mirror.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I came back and I was like, oh, I got the job. And, he's like, oh, here. So, I used to have many conversations with him
awesome.
all the time.
Do you have the mirror?
No, not anymore. It's like a, ornamental, like it was gold carved, actually, I don't even know what happened to that. It was a large mirror, large beveled mirror. But,
Wow.
I definitely know that's an amazing place. And I haven't been back there since it was sold.
Oh, okay.
But you're saying it's been redone and but sort of kept the same.
Yeah. So I remember back then they used to have a fridge next to the marketplace, and you can buy California rolls. Now, and back then, if you don't go early, everything would be sold out. So now they actually keep it stocked pretty good throughout the day. So you can buy your California rolls. They have sushi. They have spicy tuna rolls. So I feel like it's a lot better because you can go anytime when they're open and you can buy what you need.
I honestly used to gatekeep that place because I was like, if anybody knew about this, because Mitsuwa is right down the street, right? Yeah. But I think it's way better than Mitsuwa, and because it's so unassuming, you just drive by it, right?
Right.
There's so I wouldn't tell people about it unless they're like my friends. But now a lot of people know about it. So
yeah.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with us. I know you said on Amazon that people could get it, but and you can get it at Yama. What other ways can they get your chili oil?
Yeah, so you can visit our website. It's Zindrew.com. You can order everything that we offer online, and then if you spend $50 or more, you get free shipping. We even ship to Hawaii, Puerto Rico, just anywhere in the U.S. Amazon, and then on our website, there's actually a list of stores that carry our products. So if you don't want to pay for shipping, you can look for a store near you and pick it up there.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story with us and our listeners. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. If you want to check out the chili oil, check out his website, and also maybe on Amazon you can order some of his chili oil. I'm definitely going to try it out. I think I'll try out both just to see the original flavor. But again, a story from here in the San Gabriel Valley. So you don't just see the product, but you get to hear the whole story of not only the birth of the business and the product, but sort of the journey of the person. And that's a lot of what our show is about. So if you're into that kind of stuff, please consider subscribing. If you're a regular and you appreciate what we do here, please like, share. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about the show and what other guests you would like for us to have on. You can read our full catalog of episodes on our website, mysgv.net. And until next week, we'll see you then.
Thank you for joining us on the My SGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Russell Mono and edited by Victoria Allers of Kind Monster Productions. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No, kind mother.